Hello everyone, welcome to Nigra Techies. In this video, we are going to talk about Angular 13 complete tutorial, including the CRUD operations, Bootstrap, and Reactive Forms. Finally, we are going to consume the external .NET Core Web API. So here I have mentioned what are the topics today I am going to cover. The first one is introduction of Angular application. Next, we are going to see the setup and installation. Then Angular CLI commands. Finally, we are going to create one applications. Once the application gets created, I'm going to install the Bootstrap for that one. So as I mentioned, we are going to cover the CRUD operations. So I have the service with employee. So based on that, I'm going to create the components. Once the components are get created, I'm going to implement the logic of routing. So after that, we are going to consume the external services in order to we can complete our CRUD operations. So basically we will use the forms. So two types of forms was there. One is reactive forms and another one is template driven form. So in our logic, we are going to use the reactive forms. Once the CRUD operations are completed, we are going to implement the authentication logic. At the end, we are going to deploy everything in the IIS server. That is the whole concept we are going to see. So our first topic is Angular 13 introduction. So Angular crashed many versions. So the current version is 13. So it's much upgraded. So commonly Angular is an open source front-end framework for building the single page client applications using HTML and TypeScript. The main advantage is what I noted in the Angular application. It's very effective cross-platform development. The performance is very high and long-term Google support. And especially UI for we can use the Material UI, also the Bootstrap. The multiple hosting options also available. So the topic 2 is setup and installation. So there are three things. First one is we have to install the Node.js. When you are installing the Node.js, it automatically installing the Node.js, also the npm. The second thing is Angular CLI. It's very important one. So for installing the Angular CLI, you have to use this command. Once the Angular CLI is installed in your machine, if you want to verify the actual version, you have to use one command, ng version. See, this is our current Angular CLI version 13.1.2 and our node version is 16.13. The npm version is 8.1.2. So it will give all the details. And one more thing is Visual Studio Code. This is the code editor. You can use your own code editor. I recommend to use the Visual Studio Code. So now we are completed the setup and installation part. Let me move on the Angular CLI commands. So as I mentioned, the Angular CLI provide more CLI commands. So instead of creating the manual files using the command prompt, we can generate all the required files. So first, if you want to create one project, you have to use this command ng new. After that, you have to provide your project name. The same way, next the component ng generate, short form is G, then C means component, and your component name. Similar way, the model ng generate, then M, the short form is M, then our model name. Then service ng generate as our service name. The same way for the directives and auth card. Finally, for running the application, you have to give the command ng serve. Creating the build, you have to use the ng build. So anyway, we are going to use all the commands in our application, so you will get better understanding. Let me create my first application. For creating the application, ng new, then project name. So ng new, project name is project 5. So the first question is, would you like to add Angular routing? Yes. Then CSS, the default CSS is enough. So it will take some time to create the dependency files. So why I am provide the routing is required? If I provide yes, it will generate the files. Otherwise, we have to create manually. Now look like our application was installed. We can open it. Just to go to the file and open folder and go to the respected path. Don't save. Okay, now our application is ready. So next we are going to install the Bootstrap. There are two options was available for installing the Bootstrap. One is custom and another one is the manual. We can use this custom option. It's very easiest way because it will generate all required files. Also, it will update what are the places it's supposed to update. Now the Bootstrap get installed. It affects some files like a package.json and package.log.json and also our angular.json file. Now I'm going to run our application. ng serve the command is. So now the build is getting generated. It will take some time. Okay, the build is completed. Now we can see our output here. This is the existing template provided by the Angular. Now we are going to modify everything. So if you want to check the flow means and any flow it start from the angular.json. In the starting point we mentioned our startup file. It's a index.html. So it will is there, yeah, here. So inside the index.html we have the app root. So app root is nothing but our app component. If you see here the component is, so in the component we have the selector name app root, the same thing only we have used in our index.html. So the everything comes from this app.component. Now I'm going to remove everything from here. So already we have the app component and also we are going to create some new components. So let me create all the components first. For creating the component we have the command ngg, then C for the component. At the end we have to provide our component name. Let me mark it also a green. Ng generate component. Our component name is, first one is home. So see the component is created. It created 4 files and it's updated in one file. So let me go to the component inside the app. If you see the home folder was there. So the component consists of one main TS file. It's controlling everything. And the CS file for the CSS related changes. Then this HTML, here only we are going to implement all the design related things. At the end we have one spec file. Basically it's not required. It's for the testing only. So we can remove it is. The same way we can create the other component also. Meanwhile I have to explain one thing. The component basically we have one more option. Inline style and inline template. First I'm going to create one more component with inline style. Then I will explain what is actually that. Login. Inline style. Okay, it's created. Now see, there are 3 files only generated. The particular CSS is not generated. Okay, if you see the component side, styles section was there. Instead of creating one new file, we can mention our changes in the particular block. The same way we can do the template URL also. Instead of creating one HTML file, the required HTMLs we can add in the particular area. If you want to create component like this, you have to provide inline hyphen then you have to replace the style to template. So you have to provide inline template. Okay, fine. But in our case, we are going to use the inline style only. And I have to create one more component for employee. So the same inline style only. So this employee only we are going to create the what is called the CRUD operations and everything. So I'm going to create separate components for listing and adding new screens. So in this for m listing and also ng generate list. emp add. This is for add and edit. Now we have created all the required components. Now I am going to map every components in the routing side. For that, I am going to the app routing model. If you see here the routes, this is the empty array. Here only we have to add all the menus. So first we have to mention the path. Default is empty, so component is home component. Okay, fine. And the next one is employee. So employee, for employee component we have already. Then login. For that we have the login component. So I'm going to make this one in the bottom. Why? Because this employee component have the child components for add and listings. So let me add both the things in the children section. So the children also contains the array format. So here also path, the initial is empty only. When the page is loaded, the automatically listing page is supposed to open. So I'm going to give the component is mListing. I'm going to give for the create. The employee add component. The last I'm going to give for the edit. So edit, basically we will pass some unique values. So that's fine. So let me do some changes in the component. First I'm going for the app component. Here I am going to add some styles. So if you see some div only, so here the three links was there. One is home, but another one is employee, and the final one is logout. So in the router link, I have provided the values. First one is empty, then employee, and the login. So whatever the path name we have provided in the routing side, we supposed to use the same name in the router link. Okay, this is done. We can see the output how it's coming. Okay, some links was coming, but the design is not enough. And in the global style, I am going to add some CSS. Now see the menu is coming. And one more thing is, here I need to add the router outlet. It's a mandatory thing, the part of the routing. Okay, fine. Let me see the output. It's showing the home works. If I click the employee works. Again, if I click the logout, it says login works. The text's all coming from the component. So now we have to modify the components. So I'm coming to the home component. The home component also I'm going to add some styles. So see the welcome Nigra Tech is Angular 13 complete tutorial. So next for login page. For the login page, I have the component called login component. Okay, here also I'm adding some HTML style. This is the normal HTML style only. The style you have to write your own style. I'm not going to concentrate more about styles. That's whatever the HTML content I have just copy and pasted here. So I will explain while implementing the reactive forms, I will explain very clearly. Now I'm just copy and paste it. Okay, I just want to see the output, that's it. So this is our basic login page. So it has two inputs, one is username and another one is password. At the last, the employee. So employee, we have two components, two child components. So the implementation is little bit difficult. So here is nothing required. We can just add the router outlet. That's enough. This is the one change we are doing here. Now I am going to the listing page. So on the listing page only, we are going to have the tables and the button. So here I'm going to add some styles. If you see here, it contains two steps. First one is the top section. If you see here, one link for add new, and the next one is the tables. It's showing the existing data. Okay. If you see in the screen, so just one button and the required things. So in the button, if you see the router link, I'm added the create. Okay, creator, we already have the path. So create means our add component. So let me click this add new. So it's saying add works. So here, so add component. So here also we need to add our required designs. So next all about our add employee page. So here I am added one form and one div. Inside the div we have the form, and our header is add and edit employee. So okay, let me add the required fields. Okay, first one is the text code, and next we have the name. Just these things enough. And this is for email, and this one is for phone number. The finally destination. So the destination, we have to use the select control. So in the select control, we can use this class. That's not a problem. So default, it have one option, select. So the value is also empty. So at the end, we have to add the button. So now we have completed our design. Let me see the output. So see here the code, name, email, phone. At the end we have the destination. Now the code field is not required to enable it. Defaultly it should be disabled, and also the destination we have to load the data. So for that everything we have the required services was there. So let me open the screen for the services. So I have prepared the service using the .NET Core. And if you are new for the .NET Core, I provided one separate video for that one. I will provide the URL in the description. You have to get it. So this is our actual service. So we have the service name is called destination. We supposed to populate in the drop down. And this employee, here we have the CRUD operations, all the things get and post, delete. So we supposed to use this service. And for the login time, we supposed to use these user services. Okay. First, let me check in the destination. Okay, it returns three values: developer, manager, and tester. And so this is the required URL also. So let me come to the Angular application. For consuming any external service, we are supposed to create the services in our application. So let me create our service first. So ng generate services yes, For creating all the service, I'm going to create one common folder service, and our service name is employee. So the service is generated in the folder name called service. So it has two files, one is spec file and another one is normal file. The spec file is not required, so we can remove it. At the same time, I'm going to create one more service that is for login related things. Okay, great. So here also this spec file is not required. First in the employee services, so I'm going to inject this HTTP client here, and also I'm going to mention URL. This is for destination. So I'm going to copy this particular URL. Okay, great. Now I'm going to create the method. So load destination. So it don't have any parameters. So let me return whatever values is coming. This dot http dot. This is a get method. So here I API URL description. Okay, fine. And whenever you are using the HTTP client, you're supposed to import in the HTTP model. So in the model, the same way from at angular.common.http. Here you have to use HTTP client model. HTTP client model. So the same thing you have to use here also, the import side. And again, I'm going to the employer page. And here also I'm create the same method, load the destination. And I have to declare it here, destination data. And here I have to inject our service, private. So our service name is employee service. Okay, it's fine. And here this dot service dot. So only one method, the load destination. Now we have to subscribe here. Okay, it's done. So the value whatever is coming, we have to assign to the destination data. So the value coming in the result side. So okay, if you want to verify whether the values is coming or not, we can add in the console.log. Okay, fine. And also I'm going to call this method in the constructor, the page load. So application in the run mode only. Let me go to the console. In the array, it contains the three records: developer, manager, and tester. So let me bind in the what is called our drop-down list. So if I coming to the design side, the default thing was there. I am going to create the additional things. For that, I'm going to create the ngFor let item of. This is the syntax actually. Okay, fine. Now the value is coming in the item. So I'm going to bind in the for value item dot. So one is code and another one is name. So first I'm going to add this code here. At the end, item dot name. Let me format the document. It's fine. Now see the output screen. If you see the destination, so the developer and manager test lead, the three records was loaded successfully. Now our next thing is we have to populate the employee table. If you see the employee, so we have all the services. So first I want to take this base URL. Now I have the URL. I need to implement the service side first. So API URL equal to, okay, fine. Load all employee. This is the first method, and this will return all the records of employee. This dot http dot get API URL. That's fine. Next one is employee by code. By code. So now we have one input and we need to pass it here. The same way we have to write that delete methods. Remove employee by code. So I need to change the method type is delete. The last one is post method. This is for creating and updating the record. Save. So it will, so it is input data, data type is any, and method type also the post method. So URL is fine. So whenever the post method is coming, we have to pass some input data also. Okay, done. The service side we have completed. Now I am going to the employee side. So employee side, two component was there. First one is listing. We can close it. So in the listing, I have the load all. So this method basically load all the employees. So I need to inject the employee service here. Employee services. Okay. So this dot service dot load all employee. The same procedure. Once we are called a method, we have to subscribe the method. So the common variable is I supposed to declare here employee data. So now I'm going to set value for this employee data equal to result. So the procedure is common for all. Again, I'm going to call in the constructor side. So the the actual data is available in the employee data side. Now I'm going to the employee listing side. So this is the for loop syntax. So the TD. So item.code. Next name, then phone, then email, at last the destination, and also the action packages was there. So let me remove here, and the second is name, third one is email, then phone, destination. So let me see the output first. Wow, great. All the records was loaded successfully. Though, so the action side we need to add a edit and delete option. So there are two buttons. One is for edit. So I added in the router link as edit. So the code values is coming. So I'm going to pass it here. The same way I added for the delete. So here also the input is item.code. So before going to see our output, I need to add this delete function here, otherwise it will throw the error. Okay, fine. Why not? It's not loaded. Save the screen once again. Okay, now see the edit and delete option was there. I'm trying to click the edit. So if you see here, the URL is changed, also the screen also changed, but the data was not loaded. Okay, first we are going to implement the add screen. So once it's done, similar way we have to populate the data also. So initially we have the on basic HTML only. So if you see here, the forms was there. As I mentioned, in the Angular reactive form only we are going to implement. For using the reactive forms, first we need to import in the our app model. So import something from at Angular slash forms. So the reactive form model. The same thing you have to apply in the import side also. This is fine. And in the actual component side, we have to use the form group and form control and also validators for the validation purpose. So all comes from the Angular forms at Angular. So it's available here, fine. Let me add the farm group, then farm control, at last validators. Okay, fine. Now I'm going to create our reactive form here. So employee form equal to new farm group of, so our first control name is code. So new farm control of, the similar way we can add other controls also. So next one is name. After the name we have the email, then the email we have the phone, at the end we have the destination. Okay, we have added. So now I'm going to add this form in the HTML file. So the form, so the form group equal to, here we need to add the event also, ng submit, save employee. I'm going to declare the save employee also here. Now we added the form. Next we supposed to add the codes. Not the codes, the controls we supposed to add it. For that we have the option form control name. Here the important thing is the form starts from the small letter. This control caps letter and also name is caps letter. The two things was capital. The same code we can copy paste for some other controls also. Let me do my changes little quickly. The name and the email. Here phone. At the end is destination. Okay. So there is no changes. Now this code field I is supposed to disable it. So we can do from our TS file itself. For that I'm going to add the value. Value is default is empty. Disabled equal to true. So the thing is disabled. Now I am going to add the validations. So all the fields are required except the code because the code is auto generated. So adding the validators. So I'm going to add the validators dot required. So many types of validations was there. So based on the requirement, we are going to use the required validator. So I'm going to copy and paste the same code for all the things. So we added for all the controls, but in the email, we have to validate for the email format also. So we need to add one more validator. So here the possibility was not there. If you want to use two validators, we're supposed to use the validators.compose and inside we have used the array. So one is added. The same way we can add validators.email also. Okay, great. Now we have done the validation part. Let me check whether the values are coming or not while clicking the submit. So I'm going to check whether the data are valid or not first. This dot employee form dot valid. It's a valid only we are going to use. And if it's valid, I want to see the data. Console.log this dot employee form value. Okay, great. Wilson. So destination is the developer. I'm trying to give submit. If I go to the console, I can get the values like name is Wilson and email, phone number and the destination. So the values is coming. So now I need to call the service for this one and also pass the data. So let me command it first. So this dot service dot. So we already injected the service. So the same thing we can use. So the data is this dot employee form dot value. The subscribe is common for everything. Okay, great. So this dot save response equal to result. Once the values is comes, we can add in the console and we can check once again. Okay, fine. So this is all about the save functionality. And one more thing we have missed. We have added the validation in the reactive forms, but we have to provide the required messages. So then only user can identify what are the fields actually missing. So for that we are going to use the getter property. So the getter is name this dot employee form dot get name. So the getters we are going to use other fields also. This one is for phone and another one is email. The last one is destination. Okay, we have done. For showing the error message, we can use the span here. Okay, if you see here, I added the ngIf. So the name, whatever our getter name is same as name. If name was there, we are checking is invalid. And also the test. Why we are adding the test means if you are not adding the test, it's always showing the message. So the class is error. So and please enter the name. The same way we can add for other fields. The second field is email. So I'm going to change for the error messages. So please enter valid email. So we have two more fields. One is phone, last one is destination. So this one is phone. Center phone. Destination. At the last, we have the error message. So I need to declare this message class and the message also here. So both are string only. These things for just showing the messages. Okay, great. So if I'm not entering the value, it will show like this. Email. Now if I selected the values, it will gone. But the email. So we need to give the exact format. Then only it will go user one. So otherwise it will display the data. Even if I'm submitting also, okay, it's supposed to give some messages here. I need to implement that also. So first I trying to create one record with the user one. So what's the value is coming here? One is key code and another one is result. Result is pass. So that is success. And if it's else, we have to show the error message. So for that, this dot message failed. At the same time, this dot message class also error. Okay, great. So here also same. Please enter valid data. So if it is the success, saved successfully had the message also success. So the class is available here, so I can copy and paste also. So let me try with some valid records once again. So I'm going to give user2 at gmail.com, phone number something, and I'm trying to save. It's showing please enter the valid record. So now I'm selecting the destination as the manager. So saved successfully. If I go to the employee side, I can see the user1 and user2 both are recently created. Okay. So once the save option is completed, now I'm going to work for the edit. So the URL is changed, but at the same time I have to load the data here. Now I'm going to create one new function, update employee. So our input is employee code. So data type is any. So let me call the service this dot service dot employee by code. Here we need to pass the input, and finally I'm going to subscribe. Okay, this is all fine. And now this dot edit data equal to result. Once it's done, if this dot edit data not equal to null, then we can bind the value in the respective controls. Okay, fine. Employee form equal to, this is actually our reactive form. We defined here the same content we can copy here. I'm going to paste it. Now we are going to set only the values, so other things is not required. So let me remove it. So we have the values in edit data. So this dot edit data dot code. The same way we can apply for all the controls. The second one is name. So I'm going to change this in name. This is only email and phone. The final one is destination. Okay, we have done the changes. Now I'm going to the constructor. This is our page load actually. So here we need to get the URL value. In the constructor, we have to find the employee ID. So if you see the URL, the one is the employee ID. We're supposed to find it. For that, we have one option, activated route. So let me inject the activate route here. Activated route. Okay, great. and I'm going to declare employee ID globally. Fine. Now this dot employee ID equal to this dot route snapshot parameter map get ID. Why I'm providing ID means initially we have declared in the app routing. So the edit URL, so I provided the value as ID, the same name I supposed to use in the component also. Okay, great. Now I'm going to check if I having the employee ID value not equal to null and this dot employee ID not equal to 0. Basically the page load time is a normal create scenario, there is no values. So in the edit time only the actual value coming in the employee ID. So here only we need to call the update method. So update employee, here the input this dot employee ID. So now we have done our changes. Let me verify from the browser. See now the data are loaded, code 1, Ramesh and email ID, phone number, destination. So let me go to the listing once again. I am trying to edit the fifth record. Out of fifth add record, the ID is 5. So now I'm going to change some changes. I'm trying to submit once again. So saved successfully, particular value get updated. It's not created new record. So at the end we have to implement the delete. So for the delete we have to implement in the listing component. So let me go to the listing component. So here we have the method. So I am going to use the basic confirm here. Do you want? And here I am going to call the or delete method also. So remove employee and I need to pass the code as the input. At the end we supposed to subscribe. This is a common procedure for all. Okay, great, we have done. If it's all success, I'm not going to check anything. So I'm just going to call the load listing method, load all. So I'm just formatted. Okay, it's loaded fine. Now I'm trying to delete one record. So do you want remove? Yes. So the particular record is deleted. I'm trying to delete one more record. Okay, great. We have completed our CRUD operations. Next, we are going to implement the login concept. So at the same time, so I have the service, the employee service. I make it as the public service. Hereafter, I'm going to make it as the authorized service. So if you are providing the token, the valid token only we can access hereafter. So once we implemented our login functionality, we will get actual token also. That's not a problem. So in the login form also, we are going to use the same reactive forms. It's not a difficult task. We already page, the employee page. So the same thing we can do here also. So let me import the required things. Angular forms, yes. So the one more thing, form group, then form control and validators. So the validators, fine. And also this is just a revision whatever we have done in the employee page. So here actually only two fields. One is username, new form control. The field is required. Okay, great. The same way we can add for the password also. Okay, we have added our reactive form. Let me go to the HTML side. So if I see the HTML side, so I have the form. So I'm going to add the form group. So form group is login form, and the same way we have to add the event ng submit. So proceed login. Okay, great. Now I need to add the form control name. So there are two fields, form control name, username, and the next field is password. Okay, great. We have done the changes. Okay, then I'm going to implement the login functionality. Login form valid. If it's valid, I need to call the services. So still the service is not yet imported, not imported, and also it's not injected. Let me inject the service first. So our service name is login service. Okay, great. So this dot service. So I think the login method also I'm not implemented yet. So let me complete this one, the service side. So service side, we need to import the HTTP client. So in the constructor also I need to inject this one, HTTP client. Okay, this is done. And function proceed login. So user credential as the input. So I'm just going to return this dot http dot. This is the post method. So I have the API URL. So our login URL is user slash authentication. So here the input is one is our URL and another one is the input data, the credential. Okay, great. And let me go to the component side. So now the component side, the proceed login. So the input is login form, not a login form. This dot login form dot value. Okay, we have done. Let me declare response data. Okay, let me subscribe the service first. Okay, it's done. Now this dot response data equal to result. This dot response data not equal to null. This is the pass scenario. Else login failed. So I'm going to give just alert login failed. Okay, this login is fine. We need to set this token value in the local storage. So the name is, we can provide our own name. I am giving the token, and this output is okay. This dot response data dot JWT token. If you want check the service, I can show you how the service is working. Okay, this is our authenticated service. The username, the input is username and password. So admin user and admin. If I executed, see this is our response. One is JWT token and another one is refresh token. This JWT token is enough for us. So that's what I'm added here. And also one more thing, we are in the login page. Once the login is fine, we have to navigate in the home page. For this navigation, I need to use the router option. So I'm going to inject the router here. Router. Okay, this is the one. And here, this dot route dot navigate. Here the empty value. So empty value always targeting the home page. So our login functionality is completed. Let me verify this one first. If I without login, I'm trying to go to the employee page. There is no record is loaded because it's now the service is expecting the token. So okay, great. So admin user and admin. So it's moved to the login page. If you see in the application, you can see the actual token value. So the token, so the recently generated token. And if I'm trying to log out, I supposed to clear the token. So in the constructor side, I'm going to write the logic for that one. Clear. So this is fine. Now I am in the login page. I am not yet logged in. I am trying to access the employee page. I can move the employee page. It's not the correct way. So after login only I have to access any of the pages. So I need to implement the authentication here. For that I am going to use the Angular CRUD option here. So the Angular CRUD, for creating that card also we have the CLI commands. ng generate card. Our card name is auth card. So in that card we have the option can activate child, can deactivate and load. So we can use this can activate. The files are generated. So here also the spec file is not required. Let me open the auth card. Here the so many things was there. It's all not required. So let me remove. So basically this method will return true or false. Before that we have to implement our logic. Okay, let me go to the our actual service. Here I am going to return true methods. First one is for is logged in, and another one is for get token. So our actual token is available in the local storage. If you want to check whether logged in or not, let me check in the local storage dot get item of token and not equal to null. If it is a null, it's not logged in. If it is contains data, it's logged in. And also token, we need to return the same thing. If it gets the data, we have to return the data. If it's not having, we have to return as the empty. Okay, two methods we have implemented. Now let me go to the our card page. Here I am going to create one constructor. In the constructor, I am going to inject our login service. And also router. So here I am going to check whether it's logged in or not. This dot service dot is logged in. If it's logged in, it's a positive scenario. Else we need to return the false. And also we need to redirect the login page. So let me do that. Navigate. So login page name is just login. So we have completed our auth card. Now let me add this auth card into our routing file. So first I'm going to add for the home. So here we have the can activate option, and service is auth card. Okay, great. The same way I'm going to add for the employee. Okay, we are good to go. The login page, it's a default page, it's not required. So let me see the output now. Now I'm trying to access the employee page. I am unable to access. Now I'm trying to give the URL also, but it's simply redirecting to the login page. So admin user and admin. Now it's coming to the home page. I'm able to access the employee and also delete all the pages I can access, but still the data are not loaded. So now we need to pass the JWT token. So currently we have the JWT token in our local storage, but in the every request we are supposed to pass. For doing these operations, we have the HTTP interceptor option. So let me implement the HTTP interceptors. For that also I need to create one service. So I'm going to make the name is token in Interceptor. So enter. So the service is created. Here also the spec file is not repaired. Let me delete it. And this is our service. It need to implement HTTP interceptor. Okay, great. It have one function intercept. Okay, great. And now I'm going to use the injector option. Why? Because I need to access our login services here. Now both are services. The basic way I'm trying to import in the top of that. If I calling means some conflict will come. So avoiding that, I'm going to use this injector option. So let service equal to this dot. So let me inject the injector. Private injector. Okay, great. This dot inject dot get. So login service. Okay, done. Now let JWT token equal to, so here recta clone, here set headers, authorization equal to, here we need to pass our token. So token is available in the service. So auth service dot get token. Also we need to pass the bearer here, bearer some space. Okay, great. This one is completed. It's returning some error, so we need to return next dot handle of the JWT token. So the interceptor service is completed. We need to call in the model. So the model, we have the provider option. The provider, we supposed to call this functionality. We have to use the provide option. So provide is HTTP intercept. Okay, fine. Next, use class. So here we need to use our class token interceptor. At last, multi. Multi is true because this interceptor is going to use the multiple classes. So now we have done our changes. Let me verify here. I am trying to log out and give the credential once again, admin user and admin. So now see our employees records are loaded fine. The edit method is working fine, and I'll save. And if you want delete also working fine. The only thing is pending is deployment in IIS server. Let me explain that also. First I'm going to open the IIS server. in my local machine. Here I am going to add one new website, employee portal, and our physical path. Let me do the physical path setup, and portal I am going to give 82. So the service is created, employee portal. Now I'm going to the app pool. Here if I see the .NET CLR version is 4.0, but this is unmanaged one, so I need to change the no managed code. That's fine. So if you see here some existing codes was there, I need to remove everything except the web config. Basically we don't have any web config in the Angular application. Let me explain why this web config is. Before that I need to create the build file. Creating the build, we have the command ng build. It will create the required packages. So the build is completed. So the build is basically available in the dast folder if you see here. So it's generated some required files. So let me go to the actual path. So in the project file I have the dist folder. Inside the files are generated. Let me copy and I am going to the deployment folder. So I'm just pasted everything. Now I'm coming to the IIS part. Let me just restart and run it. So if you see here, our application is running fine. I'm trying to access the employee page. It's not allowing. I'm trying to change the URL also. It's not allowing. So here I'm giving the credential admin user and admin. So our home page is loaded. Now I'm going to the employee page. All the records are loaded fine. So this is our create page. So if I am not giving any values, it will give the required alert messages. So Wilson Raj wr@in.com, mobile number, and the destination is manager. So I'm going to create a saved successfully. So design wise, actually I'm not concentrated more. You can use your better design option, and also you can provide the pop-ups and showing the messages. So I'm just use the basic things. Now the ID is generated. Let me go to the listing once again. The Wilson Raj was there and trying to edit. If I want change his designation as the test lead, just updated. And if you see here, I can see the tester. The data was available. At the end, if the record is not required, I am going to remove it. So all the operations are working fine without any issue. Still, if you have any doubts or clarification, please post in the comment box. And also I am going to create the separate playlist for explaining each and every topics of Angular 13. So I will add that also in the description. The most important thing is don't forget to subscribe my channel. If you are subscribed only, you will get all the notifications. So if you like this video, please like and also share to your friends. Thanks for watching. Thank you.